Hi, welcome to Profity Media Podcast. This is Saad Khan, your host, and today we have the founder of Regro Media with us, Sammy Akhtar. He runs an Amazon advertising agency, and today he's here to discuss the potential of Amazon advertising and how sellers should be looking at their data. Welcome, Sam. How are you doing today?
Yeah. Hi, Saad. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm really excited to share everything about Amazon ads.
So let's kickstart this discussion as ASAP. So first and foremost, what do you think that the sellers in Amazon advertising, when they're doing Amazon advertising, what are the challenges that they face, and what they could be doing to make it easier for themselves and more profitable for themselves?
Yeah, definitely. I think we should start first with a story, right? So, I was listening to this book, and I'm a huge fan of reading books and listening to audiobooks as well. So, oysters. So, it is believed that oysters open their shell fully when it is a full moon, right? And oysters meat, they are so delicious that crabs wait so that when the oysters open the shell, they will go and grab their meat. But the oysters are clever, right? What they do is, as soon as someone comes closest to them, they completely shuts the cells down, right? So what this crab are doing is, whenever the oyster open the shell, they throw a stone or pebble so that the oyster cannot close it, and then the crab goes and eats the flesh. Now, what I meant to say about by the story is, the moral of the story: the crab isn't using a shortcut, right? The crab have learned all this through the hard work and practice. Now, when you talk about Amazon ads, there is no such short hack that we can try, right? So what we have seen is, over the period, we have started almost around 2017. Now it is going to be almost 5-6 years in Amazon ads, and Amazon is changing every year, right? Every day, every week, and bringing on new features. So what we have seen is, sellers, they look at Amazon ads, especially new sellers. I'm coming about the advanced sellers later on, especially the new sellers. What they think is, Amazon ads is a magic switch, and when it is turned on, ads will bring on sales. But in general, what we have experienced, Amazon ads generally performs only if the product is good. You have to make sure that the data that is coming from Amazon, you have to understand the data very well. When you talk about ads, there are only two metrics that we look at in the initial phase, that is CTR and conversion rate, click through rate or conversion rate. So even we in our agency, we call CTR as the doctor of ads. By looking at the CTR, we can tell whether our ads is performing good or not, right? Even I think we were discussing on the same page, and when we were talking about what are the aspects that sellers looks at when they talk about CTR, right? So when you talk about CTR, there are only 5 to 6 things that are responsible to increase your CTR or decrease your CTR. First is obviously main image. There's a test that I have learned from Brian Johnson. The test is about, if you look at the main image of a product and within 3 seconds you are able to tell what this product serves, or what benefit this product has, or who is the customer of this product, then that image is good. Obviously it has to be crystal clear and obviously different from the rest of the competition. You can also make it different by simply adding a package in different color, right? So all sorts of possibilities with you. You can also test by PickFu or Amazon split test, which is very slow obviously, but PickFu is fast, you can use it. Next is the title. Next comes the reviews and ratings, the price of your product, the delivery time of a product, which is very crucial. And obviously, this is something that is coming on when you talk about CTR. Now, the customer is inside your listing. Now, they are just looking for opportunities, or just looking for the trust to kick in so that they can complete the order and add to cart and purchase, because they have the credit card already saved in, right? So during this phase, the main things that influences a seller's purchase behavior would be obviously the rest images, the videos, right? And when you look at, there is a new brand story, because maximum or all of the sellers should use it, brand story, A plus content, or rather we should talk more about premium plus content, because previously Amazon used to charge almost $200,000 for it, and now they have made it completely free. Obviously, there's some criteria, but those criteria are not so serious. You can go around with it. And there are a few modules in the Premium Plus Connect that we'd like to discuss a little bit about, because the comparison chart or table that you see right now, what we are saying is, if you add 4 to 5 products into it, the products now gets add to cart buttons straight on the PDP. So you can simply cross sell your other products. Yeah. And it is an add to cart button, not a buy now button, which makes it very clear that, okay, the product is going to add in the cart and we are not going to leave the page. Right? So I think that is a very, very interesting thing. And that increases the average order value. So make sure you use those products, which you can see. Now you get this reports, purchase product report from Amazon. Purchase product report will tell you, okay, if they're clicking on product A and they're buying product B, product C from your catalog, maybe other variations, which are those? And what is the numbers? So let's assume you got, okay, product B is being purchased the most and the price is also similar. So that might be the reason. Or maybe it is a go along product with it. Okay. So now you know, okay, you have the number, you have the data to tell you that, okay, this is product. We have already seen this customers are buying from it, right? Now you put that product B in your comparison chart. Now it increases the chances of getting that product add to cart and increasing your average order value. Also, another thing is in the PDP, what we have seen is ads are everywhere, right? Even the competitors' ads, it is filling up your PDP. The only thing that we as a seller can do it, yeah, is using virtual bundles. Again, the same concept we used when we talk about virtual bundles, same going to the purchase product report, checking which products are moving good. If the prices are good or less, we can use it as a virtual bundle because it will shift your sponsored product ads of your competitors one fold down. Yeah, I think these are some things that we have seen that can drastically increase your conversion rate.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So you've got some really interesting points there. I would also like to add that and argue on the fact that, organic ranks, while it's really important that you know your organic ranks and sponsored ranks and you keep a pulse on them so as to actually see the efforts that you're making on ranking, if they're paying off or not. So we're gonna move on to ranking. But first, let's talk about geo-ranking in general because it's it's actually a new topic, contrary to the popular belief, because I've not seen many people
Yeah.
utilize geo-ranking. So what's your take on it?
Sad, I'm glad that you touched the point of geo ranking because I'm sure all of the Amazon sellers who are doing good numbers, they already know that how important it is to make sure your visibility is proper in every zip code where the customers are moved, right? If the customers' visibility is higher or the presence of your customers are higher, they're going to buy your product if they see your product, right? And also, visibility of a product is really important in terms of increasing the CTR because if the relevance is not there, your CTR is going to drop down. Now, when you talk about geo ranking, I'll tell you what is happening. Okay. So, what is happening is what we have seen is let's take, for example, you are a brand who is selling soaps. Okay. Now, you are planning to launch, let's assume, something related to the same category where the same customer is going to buy it. Now, what you do is you go to your FBO reports and check inventory reports and check, okay, which are the zip codes where we have served our previous products most. Now, you will get the list of maybe 4 to 5 zip codes, which are the top performing. Now, let's assume you're launching the new product and you do a competitive research on it. You found that, okay, these are our top 10 competitors who we are going to target in the initial phase of our launch, maybe in the first 3 to 6 months. Now, you also do one thing. You also get the relevant keyword list, maybe 20, 30 most important relevant keywords that you wanted to get ranked in the initial ranking phase or launch phase. Those keywords, now what you're going to do is for each of those top 4 to 5 zip codes, you are going to check, okay, this keyword, when I search this keyword, by changing the zip code, what are the competitors coming and where are they ranked? We are comparing this top 10 competitors because what you will notice is our search result, both for organic and ads, change whenever we change the SIP address, shipping address, or delivery address. So you have to do it manually. If you go and do cross check, what we have done is we use multiple VAs to do it. If you use a bot or something, or if you use a same system to do it, Amazon will think, okay, you are a scraper, you are a bot, and you're trying to scrap this thing. So they will slow the system down, and you will not be able to do it. So there has to be a limit to it. And now we got the ranks. Okay, this is the keyword, this is the zip code, this competitor is ranking in the second page. So once you do it for all the 10 competitors, for all the 20, 30 relevant keywords, you will have a proper idea on which zip code is weak for you, which zip code is highly competitive for you. By weak, I mean all the top 10 competitors, maybe two or three are ranking in that zip code in the first page, both for maybe a sponsored or organic. Now, here we generally look at organic because sponsored, we can obviously, they can also beat it, right? Now, you are going to target those zip codes initially for ranking. How you do it? Because in Amazon ads, if we talk about sponsored products, sponsored bands, sponsored display, which normal traditional Amazon sellers gets, we can't target regionally, right? The only way we can target is Google Ads or DSP. We can target or bring regional traffic to it. So what do? We bring regional traffic to that region. And now what is happening is, since we cannot control where our inventory goes, once traffic starts coming in, once we start getting some orders, initial orders, Amazon starts shipping some quantity or portion of your inventory to that warehouse, which is closer to that zip code. What we have also seen is if you have a slight higher stocks than normal, your visibility increases. So that is how we initially started, and that really helped a lot. There is so far no software who is doing it. So we have to do it through manually. Obviously, we're looking for some softwares. For Google Ads, there is a lot of such softwares, I guess. But for Amazon, certainly there is no such right now.
Mm-hmm. I see. You've also, discovered a market need that is the need of agencies and, PPC managers. So there's
Yeah.
that. I think
Actually,
we.
Saad, I think what is interesting is we have for the same concept also ticked our mind as well. So we arranged a meeting with Amazon's API team on this regard. So what they're saying is, even Amazon doesn't have a API that gives such data. Not right now. Maybe in the future they are going to release it. We are not sure. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I would love to hear more about your discussion over the event at the Amazon API event. So can you talk
yeah.
more about that?
Yeah, so actually, we arranged a call with Amazon because we are Amazon's ads verified partner, and we were awarded as a best performing agency for quarter one, quarter two, quarter three results are yet to be published. So they got us access to few their own developing softwares that they're using. One is called Trona. So that software generally it is a automation software for PPC. They are in-house. They're developing it in-house. So that is good to know, and we got access to it. And also, since we got some priority support for Amazon, we connected and arranged some meetings with their API team trying to develop this tool, right? Because there is a demand for it. And what they were talking is for this tool, there is no such API because Amazon doesn't get this data from any API right now. And Amazon doesn't have an API right now to give to third party vendors as well. So yeah, I think that is something that we need to wait a little bit, and yeah, it is exciting to wait for it as well, and to see which other tools can bring it on, because there are so many softwares which are already deep into Amazon. So for them to bring a software tool like this or add it to their current stack is really easy.
All right. So it's interesting to hear that. Definitely, you're working with the API team to actually, work on these demands and needs. I think this is something that is going to lead us to better management and, better cost optimizations. So now moving on to the aspect of organic ranks and sponsored ranks. So what's your take on it when it comes to like, all your ranking efforts? So how would you go about it?
I think it is obviously that is spot on that the way you mentioned about organic ranking. I think there's something because we all tend to look at organic ranking. Otherwise, our A cost tacos is not going to drop down, right? So we still use the traditional method of tracking it through Helium 10 tracker, and yeah, tracking it. I think it is more essential. But what is most interesting is because what you'll notice right now is if you change the zip code, right? The organic ranking as well as the sponsored ranking also changes. And sponsored ranking is something which is particularly for a time for a short period. It changes on a short duration of time. It depends on relevancy, delivery time, products availability, all those kind of things, right? And also customer behavior, customer score. So who are you is also going to determine whether you're going to see that ad or not. Your past experience or interaction with that product also determines whether you are going to get that ad shown to you or not. So I was having this discussion with Danny from Seller Station as well, and he has a very precise study on A9. And this points also touched. He also touched on these points as well. That is why I brought in. we still use Helium 10 tracker to track our ranking, because organic ranking is something that we still can track overall basis, which by the data that we can get. But again, I feel that geo ranking is something that needs to bring in, because this is happening. We know it that this is happening, and we still try to dodge around or retreat from the fact that okay, this is happening, but we are still following the traditional method of tracking the ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I tend to see is that, there's a new challenge that pops up ahead is that, while Helium 10 tracker does the job, but it does only that for like a single zip code or maybe two or three zip codes. It doesn't do for all these 52 states if you've got them in the US, let's say, or other countries if you've got them in other zip code locations. Because I think, and this also brings me to a new question that there must be a new kind of a tool that does the organic tracking and sponsored tracking on a regional zip code level scale. So I think that is something. I mean, the data is going to get more complex, but at the end of the day, if you've got more accurate data, you can make better and
Yeah,
precise decisions. So I think that is
definitely.
definitely there's that.
Yeah, I think I would completely agree with the fact that you were stating this. And I think the market leaders will see it, and they will definitely come up with the software, if not us. Yeah.
Mhm. All right, perfect. So let's move on to our next topic, which is ranking. Because we've been talking so much about organic ranks and sponsored ranks, let's see how we can actually drive these ranks. So let's come to sponsored products because I think this is a bread and butter of most Amazon sellers. So we've got a couple of match types over there, manual match types like exact match, phrase match, broad match, and then there's the new one. Uh, well, I mean, it's not quite new, but it's a relatively new concept in the Amazon community, which is broad match modifiers. So I would like you to explain how they work and, see what the impact that they have on ranking of, products and what is, and also compare the ACoS and the profitability that these match types tend to deliver on, products.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think this is very interesting, because what we used to get the knowledge from, I mean, when we started in 2017, we used to taught that or told that exact match is the go-to thing to do, right? You start with the exact match or maybe phrase, because broad is spending a lot of money. But over time, when we had handling big accounts who were spending maybe $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, maybe more, what we have seen is they are drastically shifting from exact to other match types. Now, why I'm telling it is what we have seen with a few of the accounts is they have almost 40 to 45% of their ad spend or spend share going towards exact match. Whereas we know it very clearly that the kind of ranking choose exact match brings is obviously high, but the cost that is associated in bringing that is obviously almost really, really high, which sometimes may be challenging for profitability. Also, on the other case, if we talk about phrase and broad, what we have seen is the cost per acquisition for broad and phrase is much less, almost half than what it is for exact. So instead of completely focusing so much percentage of spend share, which is also not bringing the same kind of sales share, it becomes very hard and tedious job to push your spend on that exact match, because now what we are seeing phrase and broad, they are giving a lot less ACoS. If we talk about this broad modifier, right, just adding a plus sign in, let's say if you're using two word phrase, plus if you want to use those in the same word phrase in the same order, just put up plus. Or if you want to use the two words maybe in a different orders, then you can put two plus in both the words. And so this is an interesting concept, because it was there present in Google for a long time, but Amazon is rolling out recently, which is obviously good for a seller, because the more test we can do, the better data we can see, right? And also, what we have seen is sellers also push a lot of their budget in sponsored brands and display. Uh, but what is happening is we all know that sponsored brand is something that pushes their traffic most towards the top of the search, right? And we all know top of the search is always expensive. And yeah, I think that is something that is really interesting. It's not focusing your exact match, because the kind of ranking juice that you get in exact, I know that that is very high, but the phrase and broad that also brings on ranking juice, which is good enough because you are getting it as much cheaper price, right?
Yep, there's that factor. So let's say if we have to like, assume a scenario of like, let's say there's a brand, there's a big brand that's like, spending more than $20,000 per month in ad spend, versus a brand that is like, spending like $3,000 to $5,000 per month in ad spend. So both of them, they both will have like different goals, the different focus points, because let's say the growing brand that is like at $3,000 to $5,000 per month ad spend is going to be focusing more on like, you know, uh, getting their foot in the market and actually establishing their rankings and their visibility on some keywords, versus a brand that is like, the $20,000 per month ad spend brand, which is like you looking to like increase their market share. So these two obviously are very different goals. And so personally, there's what I think is that, the smaller brands, they should be like focusing more on like, phrase match, and then there's obviously exact match, and then there's the broad match. But I think the phrase match should be like it should be the bulk of the ad spend, because what happens is that at that time you need to establish your ranks, as well as like discover new keywords, discover new opportunities. And I think personally that phrase match does a good job at that, while also keeping profitability in mind. Plus, broad modifiers, if you're talking only about sponsored products, so broad modifiers, I think, are the way to go, instead of like a broad match, because quite frankly, there are synonyms that, we are seeing that in our search term reports that we are appearing on synonyms which are totally irrelevant sometimes. So there's that. I mean, we can minimize that by negative targeting, but for how long? Because, there's going to be new synonyms that are going to pop up every now and then. So there's that. So I think so personally, the small brand should be focusing on that. And the large brand, if we are talking about them, what they should be doing like is that, they should be focusing more on capturing more market share, and capturing more market share obviously has its different tactics. I think the easiest way to capture more market share in your same market is to like launch a new product in your same market. And then plus, if you're limiting ourselves to campaign managers, so there's other aspects that I would like you to talk about. So how would you go uh in both scenarios, considering like you've got two accounts? So how would you go about these two accounts? So what would be your approach?
Yeah, I think that is a really interesting thing that you shared. And I think the most important thing here is that we need to look at is a product life cycle, right? So the goals that we see when we are focusing on ranking, because we know that the product is the initial phase of the product life cycle. During that phase, okay, now we are pushing a little bit exact, right? And that is justified. And once it grows, once it acquires a lot of reviews, once the tacos comes down, we know now this is a time, okay, we need to focus a little bit apart from ranking towards profitability. Now, when you talk about profitability, we know exact match is completely opposite of it, right? In some cases, when we get long tail version of keywords, a really long tail, when you talk about 3, 4, 5 word phrase keywords, that is good for ACOS. Or if we look at low ACOS campaigns, low bid campaigns that we use for phrase, maybe broad or exact, all three types, if we go low bid, we can get good ACOS. That is again depend on testing, right? So if we talk about these two accounts, obviously none of the accounts are different because it is again depend on products. So instead of going on account by account, we should go by product on product life cycle basis. At which part of the life cycle right now the product is? If it is in the starting, for both of the accounts, no matter which stage they are, how much they're ad spending. So first thing is, if the product is in the initial phase, obviously we got Amazon Vine, and we have seen is Amazon Vine is really honest right now in couple of days, couple of months. By honest, I mean we are getting a lot of negative reviews as well. Obviously, the product quality has to do a lot with it, but still the percentage have increased a lot. The honesty is a lot right now. So exact match is something that you need to do when it is at the initial phase, and exact and freeze instead of focusing in broad, because Amazon has a very less data of your product. So it is very high chance if you're selling a cat product, the audience might be uh, dog dog oriented. They might be dog owners that are seeing your product. Amazon might show to a dog owner even though you're selling a cat product, which is completely irrelevant to the audience that they're seeing, and that may happen if Amazon doesn't have the data, right? So in order to stay away from that, what you have to do is you have to start with the exact phrase to feed Amazon some data. Okay, now this is my product, you can see the conversion is coming from this keyword. Now you can start pushing related to this keywords. And that is the main reason. What we do is we don't start with automatic campaigns, we give it a week time to start, then we start with automatic campaigns, because same automatic and broad, we know those goes completely different, and those target broad set of markets. Complete synonyms, they, if you're selling a cat product, that may also show to a dog audience. All this thing might happen. In order to control that, you should start with giving Amazon some data that, okay, this is my product, this is what the keywords are that I'm converting for. So training your algorithm for your product is most important, and that may take 1 week, 2 weeks. I would suggest to wait for some conversion to see, then start with automatic or broad, or even broad modifier, right?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. So I think we have, had ample discussion on like which phrase match or match types are like best in context of ranking and profitability. So, I mean, I would like to talk about like, let's say, what about ad budgets? Because this is one of the key points that every single Amazon seller has in their mind, and they want to see that okay, they want to see that here's the budget that we have. What can we do in this budget? So, what's the capacity? How far can we go in that regard?
This is a thing that we used to deal a lot with. Right now, we are managing around 60 plus global brands. They are doing almost 150 million plus USD in revenue. What we are seeing right now, okay, apart from what we used to see when we started, obviously the brands were small, and yeah, this problem was there. Right now, we make most of the decision based on what we see, right? So Amazon have given us their tool, which also gives us the budget allocation for each account that we have. Right. So let's assume we have in our agency 10 accounts or 10 brands. So we can see, okay, how much budget is being consumed, what is the budget targets that they have. Apart from that, if you go to Amazon dashboard, we can see the graph has been added, which shows how much consumption is happening on that campaign, right? And what makes me more curious is we know that sellers or brands come up with a monthly budget that this is how much they're going to spend, but they have to also understand if they limit their budget, or let's assume they were spending 20,000 last month and this month they are spending 10,000, that will also impact their visibility, and in turn that will also affect their organic ranking, and which is completely correlated. So what we generally suggest is, let's assume we have a $15,000 monthly budget. We see how the data is coming. Okay. Now, based on it, because we know there are expensive placements that can be negated, right? After a month or less than 14 days, because Amazon actually we should take some time, right? So it is better if we just starts calculating or start giving some conclusion after 30 days. So we see that the budget is going out of budget for maximum of our campaigns. Okay. And we can also dissect and look at, okay, which placement is getting most of the spend share and sales share, and which is good for us, which is not good for us. If the brand is focusing a lot more in profitability right now, and if their profit have decreased, or maybe they are at a loss making stage, but with reducing the budget they can come to a profit making stage, those are some scenarios which we can look at more granular way. Okay, which are the placements that can be negated, whether we should focus most on, because we know top of search is expensive, right? For every product ads, sponsored product, brand displays, top of search is expensive. And then we have to focus on maybe rest of the search, or maybe other option that we have, right? So we have the top of the search, product page, and rest of the search. Maybe we can focus on the rest too. Now we can also control rest of the search. So I think if you see that you are going out of budget, and if your campaign is going out of budget multiple times in a day, that is an indicator that you need to look at that campaign. And if the ACOS is really high, then that is the opportunity that we have to go granular and check, okay, which can be optimized more if the campaign has a good data history. If the campaign is new and giving us high costs, okay, and very less conversion, we can probably go and check, okay, what is happening. Maybe top of the search is consuming a lot more. It again depends on product life cycle. If the product is completely in a mature stage, we would have to go at a red alert zone if we see the high cost, right? But if the campaigns or the product is in the launch phase, that is a phase we can afford some high cost because we know it is going to give us more ranking. So after a month, we decide, okay, this is the budget, this is how much we've spent, this is the placement orientation, this is which placement I've spent how much. There are some opportunities that we can cut down some budget, or if you can give us more budget, this is the opportunities that we have. Because we have seen there's some keywords that are giving us good conversions, which are helping in ranking. Because on the other hand, you need to track your ranking as well. Because tracking and knowing the numbers, how it is improving is really important, which you were talking about a lot about tracking the ranks, right? I think that is a really good point that you shared as well. Tracking rank, and that is really important because you need to compare. Okay, if you're spending, what results it is bringing. Yeah, I think that is how we make decision right now. And obviously, the client has to be on board on you in the same mindset. And generally, you will get those kind of clients when you aim for bigger clients. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Let's, if we are going to be closing this podcast on an ending note, we've talked about many technical things. Let's talk about, about these mindset things. Like, it's really, really important that your client is on the same page with you in terms of goals, in terms of mindset. Like, they need to be on the same page because, um, let's say if you're a layman and you're starting, if you've launched your products on Amazon and you know nothing about Amazon advertising, and then you hire an agency or a freelancer or someone to actually manage your ads, and next day you see that your ACOS is going out of control, and then you freak out, and then you're like, I don't know what this is happening, and you're suddenly that you see that, the person that you hired is completely calm, and then you start having second doubts and thoughts. So I think at that stage it's really important that the person that is working with them needs to communicate some kind of and install a rough picture or like a bigger picture in their eyes, like, okay, so this is how these things work generally, and this is how it will most likely go for you, assuming that you know it it goes according to the what the industry expects, right? Just like, the usual things like, the launch cycle. I mean, there are some things and there's some trends that are only specific to launch phase, and then there's the maturing phase. So there's that. So yeah, I think I would like to have you leave some closing remarks on that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is more to do about the client quality or the brand quality that you're onboarding, and we struggle with it a lot because when we started, even when everyone starts, right, this is something, the challenge that we have to face, because we have to obviously pay to our employees, and that is a something because they are relying on us, and that is something that we need to take care of. So I think as a brand owner as well, brand owners or sellers needs to be virtuous, and they also need to be a little bit I mean, their mindset should be proper in a way that, okay, they should know that, okay, if you're hiring an agency, uh, on which basis are you hiring? Yeah. So yeah, I think that is the main part. Auditing account is really important, how well the agency audited your account, and based on that, brand should make their decision. Yeah, I think that is something that we would like to share.
Thank you so much for coming on here with us, Sammy Akhtar. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I would love to see you more on our podcast. And please go check out the free courses that Sammy Akhtar's agency has. Please check out the links that are down there in the video. And have a nice day, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.